Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. One Leeds is now sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball is a really classy app. You can get all of your Leeds United updates on this app. You can get all the transfer news, injury news, match day news, and it really is top quality. The most downloaded app regarding football on the site. So make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video, guys. Yes, everybody. I hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor, and we are back here with something a little bit different. It's something I've wanted to do for a while now, but unfortunately, we've not really had the time to do it with all the pre-match, the build-up, the aftermath, everything that goes on in life with regards to broadcasting football pre- and post-match. It's extremely difficult to do. Not so much creative things, but things a little bit out of the mold. And we've got something for you tomorrow as well. Obviously, we've got this massive, it's like a 10, 11-day wait, isn't it, from our last game to Newcastle. So we want to fill that up. So make sure you stay tuned for that. There'll be some clips as well going onto the channel, because this, I see it as a little bit of a podcast because it goes on for about 40 minutes. So if we've got certain talking points, I'll clip all that up and they'll be out in the next coming days as well, certain talking points, because I know you guys like going on and discussing those sort of things. So hi Connor, a huge fan, says Bobber, thank you so much. Sam, I thought you were going live at 6:30. I was, but something's come up. Unfortunately, I do work as well, so that has come up. What's happening, Arcade? Hello, Dirty Harry. I hope you're all doing really well, guys. What's happening, Derek? Apparently, we're putting a bid for Pulgar, yada, yada, yada. We'll get onto that in a bit, don't worry. Season review job I've done, and we've looked good doing it most of the time. Positive vibes, up the whites. So, guys, what I want to get on to Hannah with a lovely comment here. Yes, for Connor. A crappy day at work, and here we are. And we'll try to big you up if you've had a bit of a poor day. Hit the like, people, as White Peacock says. Now, listen, guys, if you don't follow me on Twitter and Instagram, what are you doing? I've primarily got a lot of the content, the questions from Twitter and Instagram. So if you want to follow that, it is One Leeds FC on both socials. You get all the updates and stuff like that. And for videos like this, the questions will obviously take priority. But yes, we've got a few questions coming up. So I guess getting into the thick of things right now, what's going on with Leeds, what's happened, what do we think? The season sort of review right now, the half-season review, if you will. So let's get into it right now. So we're just going to answer a few questions. Obviously, towards the end of them, we'll get into your guys' questions. But what I want to do is put the questions to the group as well. So when I read them out, you guys feedback on exactly what you think. So the first question comes from our good mate, Anthony Carl Higgins. Thank you so much for your question. Hand on heart, do you believe we have enough to stay up without any business in January? I do, even if it's scraping 17th, and that's good enough for me this season. Invest in the summer and kick on to bigger things. So get your comments in the section below, guys. Do you think we have enough this season to sustain in the English Premier League, the top division of English football? I'm really interested to hear what you think on that. My personal perspective, I do think we've got enough. I think we've shown it for the first half of the season. You know, we're 12th, and we've got to take it realistically, guys. It's been a wonderful season so far. Yeah, we've taken some heavy defeats. We've taken some probably unexpected defeats. And the game at the weekend was a little bit maybe of an eye-opener for a lot of fans. You know, we've beaten a lot of teams in and around us for the majority of the season, really. And that was the first game where you thought, right, okay, we've been really done over there by a team below us, a team who've won 1 game in 15, 0 in 9. That's a bit of a reality check. And I think it was a bit of a reality check for a lot of fans. But this isn't, with respect to all these clubs, this isn't a game against Wigan. This isn't a game, against Wickham or those sort of teams, where we're expected to win. These are games probably where we're expected to lose based on the transfer value and calibre of the squad. So do I think we've got enough? I personally do. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys say. Please don't be offended as well if I don't read out your comments. I've got so many comments to go through. Jake Seddon, Click and Rodrigo aren't good enough at the moment, mate. Need someone solid in there. Slow Steady Steve comes out with a really good comment. It depends on injuries, and I think that's a big point. Injuries and COVID-19, which is going to be a prevalent part of our lives for the coming future, isn't it? So that's going to affect footballers, and footballers been available. Yes, we have enough to stay up this year without business. Buying in Jan would mean inflated prices. Best to wait until summer. Completely agree with Anthony, says Guy Robertson. I think we do. Like you said, we'll scrape it. We need more depth, says Sam Guel. Comes in and says totally yes. 12th without a patched up defence, and that's key as well, guys. We've had 11 centre-back combinations now. We see Liverpool still going into meltdown about not having Virgil van Dijk. Look at the calibre of players we've had out at the back. And yeah, we've conceded goals. But, if we had the likes of Koch, Llorente, who was starting week in, week out, Ayling on the right, Dallas on the left, I do think there needs to be another left back, not Dallas. And that's no disrespect to Stuart Dallas. I think we need a natural-sided left back for that position, a left-footed left back, essentially. I believe we should be able to stay up. Believe in Bielsa. We need a centre midfielder majorly, and I think it's a big point as well. There's a lot of talk about Pulgar, who is my sort of he's my pick. He's my cherry pick, Pulgar. I think he would be a really good acquisition. I think the market value for him at this moment in time, because he's not getting games, he's not getting into the Fiorentina side at all. He's got no recognition there. I think it would be a good value for him. But it's really interesting what we've seen today from Sport Witness, who've come out and said Leeds are willing to put 25 million down. We hear this every single window, guys. We hear Sport Witness, we hear Football Insider. I'm sure they've come up with some great things in the past. And this is what sustains the rumour mill, isn't it? These sort of sources. HITC, all these companies who were there for rumours. And they do very well on that, But is it backed up? Are they getting it from somewhere, or is it just sort of causing a stir from people like me coming on here and causing a stir and saying, look at Pulgar, should we be going after him? It's a little bit of stimulus, isn't it? Really think we need a creative, gritty centre midfielder, says Joe. And I think that is key. Lewis Kaywood sort of coming in here. Connor, serious question. Would Forshaw improve that midfield? 100% he would. Press resistant. That is what Leeds United do not have. Calvin Phillips is not press resistant. Matthias Click is not press resistant. Adam Forshaw is a press resistant midfielder. A press resistant midfielder is essentially someone who can alleviate pressure. They will go forward with the ball and they will deal with the pressure from the opposing man. They can do that. And they can move forward. They're direct. Look at Calvin Phillips when he gets the ball. It's all about economically passing it. It's moving the ball on consistently. And Calvin Phillips does that extremely well. But it's all about moving the ball on very quickly and making those patterns of play more accessible for our forward players. He's not press resistant. Okay, we've seen that when he's been pickpocketed, numerous times by Eze, who always sticks out to me in that centre attacking midfield role in the Championship. And that's not Calvin's fault. Calvin's very good at what he does, but we do not have a press-resistant midfielder apart from Adam Forshaw, in my personal opinion. Let's move on to the next question and the next talking point anyway, guys, because I want to rack through this. Obviously we're going to break it up as well and get to the comments and stuff like that, but we've got a fair few questions to get through. Eden Emery Webber, cracking name. Do you think Bamford needs competition up front other than Rodrigo? Get it in the comment section below, guys. What do you think to that comment, that question? Do we think that he needs competition other than Rodrigo? Well, I guess the question back to that is, was Rodrigo bought as a centre forward? Now, what we've seen from Marcelo Bielsa's setup at this moment in time, the answer to that is no. Rodrigo has not been bought for that purpose. He's been bought as a sort of centre midfielder, centre attacking midfielder who can do both roles. Whether or not that's because Bielsa's seen him do that centre attacking midfield role, which he has done in his career, that could be the point to that. You forget Bielsa will have seen him so many times as well when he was the Bilbao manager. So maybe Bielsa has looked at Rodrigo and thought, that's the versatility I need. I don't have to cover two players. I don't have to get a centre midfielder and a striker. I can cover both of those positions with a world-class player, Spain's number 9, who can also play in that centre attacking midfield role. It's a really interesting way to look at it in terms of Bielsa. It's a more economical way to look at it. But is it a better way to look at it? Do Leeds need to go out and get a striker for competition with Bamford? But the competition with Patrick Bamford's always really interesting because Bamford thrives on competition. We saw elevated levels of performance when JKA was there. Obviously, we know he didn't get into the squad. Eddie Nketiah, Kim Aroof. We've always seen it. Bamford's performances drastically increase. In comparison to someone like Rafinha and Costa, Rafinha's winning it all day because for me, Costa's not showing enough. But would I go out and get another striker in June? Yes, I would. Because I don't know, Rodrigo isn't still that consistent goal scorer. And I think we need a very good centre forward who can challenge Patrick Bamford. We know Bamford gets his seasonal injury. We know Cooper gets his seasonal injury, which he's had already. And we know Calvin gets his seasonal injury. These are all key components to take into consideration when we're talking about depth. Because it's not about the depth right now, the squad we have. It's about reserve. What will happen? What's the contingency plan if X, Y, and Z happens? And I think if Patrick Bamford leaves the starting lineup, would we be confident Rodrigo playing up front in this system? It's all well and good talking about the Spain number 9, but it's very different comparing a Spanish national side to a Bielsa side, no matter what spectrum you're in. Bielsa sides are so unique. So yes, I would, in answer to your question. Let me know what you guys think. Really interested to hear this one. Bamford doesn't get enough service, I've seen. Joe coming in again. Rodrigo was meant to take over Hernandez, needs more time to settle in the role. And I think that's the idyllic point. It was for him to replace Pablo Hernandez. And I don't think we've had that sort of transition yet. Rory comes in and says, I would be confident if Rodrigo covered Bamford if he gets injured. Cracking player. And we've not seen it, though. Rory could be bang on there. He could be bang on. We've not really seen it. We've had the cup competitions against Hull. We've had the cup competition, obviously, against Crawley Town, where we saw a little bit of Rodrigo in that role. But we haven't seen him with all the bodies around him that we know are our starting bodies. So Lucas Skelton says, would be nice to see him up front more, though. Rodrigo said in an interview, says Daniel Leach, that he's most comfortable playing just behind the striker too. So whether or not that's him in sort of a 9 role, just dropping back as a false 9, Bamford's in at the 10. Banana Tree Gamer, Bamford does. I always see Bamford more of a cam role. He's good on the ball, but his finishing can be a bit poor. John Bailey saying Rodrigo will leave at the end of the season. The interesting one to keep notice on with that is Rafinha. Rafinha's left every single club after a year. it's not what we want to be talking about, but Rafinha has a track record of leaving. We're all talking about Bielsa, his 1-year contracts. There's a comment there about Rodrigo. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with Rafinha. We need other positions more desperate than a centre forward. I wouldn't say no to a bit of competition, though. Sam coming in again. Connor, if we have a fully fledged Spanish international stagnating on the bench, surely it's a matter of time before he departs. And yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Is Rodrigo happy in that role? It's another point of view. Is he happy at what he's doing at this moment in time? Will he be happy? A lot of people talking about Gelhard there, which we're going to get into a bit. Jack White coming in and saying Greenwood could put Bamford under a little bit of pressure. And yeah, it's all relative, isn't it? Dandob saying it, but you aren't mentioning the key point, Connor, money. We can't replace all the championship players in one go. We're going to get onto that, Dandob. It's in the summer, for me, there needs to be 4 replacements minimum. Now, that's not having all at one go, 11 replacements, whatever, 12, 13. I think it needs to be a steady progress. I would make 1 addition in January. I'd look to be making 3 or 4 in June. And I think that's a gradual process. I think you see that with a lot of promoted clubs as well. Right, okay, guys, let's get on to the next question. TK McNamara, thank you so much, Tom, for getting in touch. Thoughts on us needing a natural central midfielder to go next to Click to help him out and help us out defensively? Also, what signings would you personally take? Keep up the good work, marching on together. Thank you so much for your kind comment there, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I think we've already spoken about the natural centre midfielder on my stream, if you caught it at the weekend, and who I would be going for. It would be Pulgar. His chance creation's through the roof. Very good on the ball. I've seen a lot of Pulgar. Been part of some sort of scouting podcasts as well. Looking at sort of a lot of Serie A. Pulgar's a very good player, very adaptable, very pragmatic. He can play both styles. He can play over the top, and he can, benefit on that front. But he can play through the lines as well. And he's very aggressive and combative and press resistant, which are all fundamental aspects where this would benefit Leeds right now. Rodrigo de Paul he's the Messi signing for us, isn't he? He's that next level signing. What I love about Pulgar is he's that Forshaw role as well. He can play in the six, but he can get forward as well. And I think that's what we need at this moment in time. We need a little bit more aggression, a little bit more leadership. He's got experience in Serie A as well, 26 years of age, Chilean, so he'll know the Bielsa way inside and out. And yeah, I just think it's perfect for us right now. And I think that the finances are there. And if you have seen anything of Pulgar, please let me know. If there's anyone else, we're talking about Ricky Puig. I still not got his name right. Still haven't. I think Ricky, from what I've seen of him, he's a bit slight. He's a young lad. I would prefer Pulgar just in terms of experience, to be quite frank with you. Vic Vinegar, central midfielder targets for me would be Koopmeiners and Anguissa. I'd try to get both of them, one in Jan, one in summer. Phillips in behind. I think Anguissa, you guys hear me talk about him so often. I mean, goodness me, I think he's playing below his level, and that's no disrespect to Fulham. I guess it is in a sense. He could play a lot higher, that guy, a lot higher, top 10. He's a very, very good midfielder, strong, press resistant, as I keep saying. And very good on the ball, technically gifted. I think his dribbles are in the top. I think it's top 5, 6 in the Premier League. He's a very, very good player. He's someone I would look at. Danny Thompson, my feelings on Pulgar. We should pull out all the stops for him. What's his contract situation? Loan to buy. Loan to buy would be an option on Pulgar, but I don't think if it's that beneficial for Fiorentina if they can get a decent whack for him in the summer. I do think there'll be more suitors for Rodrigo. God, I've got De Paul in my mind. For Pulgar in the summer months. Right, okay, next question. Bom Lombard LUFC, do you think the club should be looking for a long-term commitment from Bielsa? Now, this is a really interesting one from Andy. How do we plan for future progress when the manager won't commit to more than a season at a time? In the summer, we'll be giving him significant cash, and he might only be there for another year. Now, it's a loaded question, a really loaded question, a really good question. It brings up a lot of points. It brings up a lot of scenarios that as Leeds fans, we don't want to talk about, think about, etc. But there's going to be a time when Marcelo Bielsa leaves Leeds United. We know it. We don't like to admit it. We don't like to entertain it. But it will happen. He's not going to be around forever. The contingency plan, as I keep saying, for me, has to be there for everything, every scenario. Another midfielder, another defender, another goalkeeper, another tea lady. They're all important components in the Leeds United machine that is rolling on. Marcelo Bielsa is the driver of that component. He's the driver of the machine. He's the engineer. He's put it all together. So it's a frightening thought thinking about Marcelo Bielsa leaving the helm at Leeds United. I think the 1 year rotation rule that he has, or it's not rotation, is it? Because it's not coming back on itself. But, the prolonged plan, which he keeps doing, I think it's sort of self-security as well. Bielsa has been burnt before when he's tied himself down to long contracts. There's been disputes before when, he's left a club and this, that, and the other. Lawyers have been involved. Firms have been involved. And I think right now he's at that moment in his career where he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that hassle. So he's embedded himself into Leeds. We thought last year he would leave. He didn't. We thought the year before he would leave. He didn't. I firmly believe Marcelo Bielsa is embedded within the fabric of this club. I don't think he is being loved. Well, obviously it knows Old Boys, but I don't think he's been taken in by any other fan base. And other fan bases may disagree here. Than Leeds United. He's just a complete god here. We know he's still, he supports Knowles. He's been seen as a god there, and he is a god there. He's the number one there. But a close second, I think, is Leeds United, and I think he knows that. I think he is so respectful of what he's been given. And as long as Marcelo Bielsa is given the tools, we're not getting involved, and we're not trying to get in, be in this Premier League saga where the board get involved with the manager, which he's had before. He's had that before at Lazio. He's had that before at Bilbao, Marseille. He's had that before. He does not want that. And what Bielsa wants is the control given to him. And he's having that right now at Leeds. So why would he leave? He's in the first division of English football. Okay, yeah, he doesn't like the media hype. I'm sure there's a lot of things he doesn't like, but I think he loves a lot more than what he hates in England and at Leeds United. And I think he feels as well that he wants to see the fans in the Premier League. He wants to experience that. He's a romanticist. He loves football. And I think he wants to see Leeds United fans back in the Premier League. And I think he wants that whole experience. I would be stunned if he left at the end of this year. And I think we've got to be a little bit understanding the fact that if he brings in players, these players will want a guarantee that Marcelo Bielsa is going to be there in a year's time. He's going to be there in 2 years' time. So for me, Bielsa is going to be at Leeds for a good amount of time. That's my personal opinion. I think Marcelo Bielsa will be at Leeds for a considerable amount of time. And that's what makes us able to go out and acquire his targets, secure players who can play in his position, because Bielsa will feel a duty of care to those guys as well. Dream signing a new pitch, says Louis. That's it. Ben Sunderland, what do you think on signing Andre Villas-Boas? Yeah, I mean, I always look at Corberan. Corberan, I know what's going on right now, but from what I've heard of Corberan, he's looked upon as a genius. You look at Romario Vieira's interview as well with Phil Hay, which I'd encourage you all to go look at. He quotes Corberan as a genius. An absolute genius. He's worked under Bielsa. And this is what I keep talking about, the contingency plan, the output, the plan. He's been under Bielsa. He gets it. And as long as we can continue this, the Bielsa legacy will be left behind. But people like Corberan can take that legacy, make it into his own, like Guardiola's done, like Pochettino's done, like Simeone's done. All these people had to start from the ground up. Corberan's no different. So I would encourage every single one of you to keep an eye on Huddersfield Town, because what they're doing at this moment in time is they're playing some great football. They're trying to get there. They're nowhere near there yet, but they're trying their very best to get there, and it's through Corberan. And he speaks so well. Signings, very, very interesting. So for me, Corberan is the one I keep looking at after Bielsa. I don't want to think about it, but Aled Davis here, Corberan in, get Carlos in. A lot of people with a lot of love for Corberan, and he knows everything about Leeds. He's been there through the good times. He's been there through the bad times, and as well, the big thing, he knows the youth, which is massive for me. Okay, what have we got next? King Gelhard. I wonder what this is going to be about. When is Gelhard going to get a chance? I know the step up from the 23s is massive, but he stands out in every game. He has that aggression and swagger that we need. He should have played against Crawley. I don't really know what's going on with Gelhard at this moment in time. I think there's been some interviews about it today, actually, which would be really interesting to catch up on. Gelhard is a very, very good player. I've watched the 23s. It's part of my job as well to keep a close eye on it. He's an extremely good player. I think we realised, though, against Swansea, that step up is massive. You forget that Leeds under 23s are in Premier League 2, guys. We're not in Premier League 1. We're top of the league in Premier League 2, but we're not in Premier League 1. We're not playing the Manchester Uniteds, the Chelseas of this world. So that step up is not just, the youth, they have to step up to that Premier League 1 level. They then have to step up to FA Cup level, cup competition level, then the Premier League. It's a massive, massive step up. And Bielsa knows that. And the backroom staff know that. So for me, I don't think we see Gelhard for a period of time, to be quite honest with you. And as gamer guy Ethan says here, apparently he's going on loan. He's off out on loan. I have a mate that's close to a camp, apparently a League One club. And that would also explain why he's not been featuring against on the bench, because he's definitely good enough. But I would not be against him going out on loan. Ivan Keeley, where do we aim to finish next season when we stay up? This is what I'm really interested to hear from you guys. Get it in the comment section below. Where do you think we finish? What happens? You can't predict football. I think it's a dangerous game to predict football. But if Connor is happy with the 17th place finish this year, by the way. If we stay up this year, I'm happy with us just staying in the division next year. I'd be happy with 16th next year. Whoa, Connor, you nutter. I would. You look at the second season syndrome, it is in an abundance. It happens, second season syndrome. It really, really does. You know, Reading, Sheffield United this year. There are so many examples where second season syndrome in the Premier League comes to bite teams on the bottom. There's a massive plan for me at Leeds United, a long-term plan. And I think you look at years 3, 4, and 5 as the real progression, you know, top 10. Top 10's massive to get in the Premier League. It's a huge feat to get into the top 10. Sheffield United finished 9th last year, which is unbelievable. And you look at them this year, that drop-off. I don't think we'll finish 9th this year. So we have to be seriously wary of that second season. Teams figuring us out. You know, teams playing a low block consistently, high pressing our wingers. Maybe Leeds not been able to do the business. COVID, is that going to still be apparent? Is that going to keep key personnel out of squads? You know, injuries. So for me, the second year is all about consolidating in the Premier League. It's all about staying in the Premier League. So as I say, the SSS, the second season syndrome, it is a massive factor. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys say. I'm praying I'm not going to read the comments and say top 4, see top 4. I'm saying we're going to finish 11th. Is it dangerous not changing the team? We'll get onto that in a little bit, mate. Champions League, God, says Nathan. Top 10, says Dan Stobart. I really enjoy all of your optimism, and I hope you're all right. 17th again, says Tom Rab. We'll finish 11th, says Demar. I've got a bet on it. Top 10, says the White Peacock. 2 or 3 places higher than we finished this season, which I probably align with a little bit more. Dan Dobb, top half, 8th-ish. 10th, we've got a lot on. We start to get found out now. This live, it is live. So a lot of people talking about the mid-table area, really, which I think is a good way of looking at it. You know, if Leeds are able to stay away from relegation this year, wouldn't it be excellent if we could do the same next year? Then, as Radrizzani's spoken about, there is a long-term plan. Long-term plan isn't just within the first 2 years. Okay, Bielsa boys. Sam LUFC 1996. Thank you for your question. Do we give Bielsa too much credit for great tactics when Solskjaer, Potter, Moyes, Hodgson have all out-tacticked him this season? Can't put it all down to player quality, performance. Another very loaded question. Guys, get your comments in the section below for what you think about this one. What I would say is, have all those other managers been able to get an absolutely bang average, really bang average Championship side and not just shed loads of, put loads of money into it? Have any of those managers been able to get sides such as Solskjaer with Cardiff, such as Swansea with Potter? Have they been able to get them to the levels that Bielsa has done without investment, really, in the Championship in 2 years? You forget we were a mid-table, awfully, we had no idea, no identity, no ethos, nothing. Leeds were down in the doldrums for years and years and years. And I don't need to tell you all this, you all know this, but I don't think there's enough credit given to Marcelo Bielsa for what he's doing then and what he's doing now. 11 centre-back combinations. Rodrigo and Rafinha are the only ones really who featured, if you look at the longevity of this season. They're the only signings. The rest of them are either sort of academy graduates or players that we've got in the Championship who Bielsa has improved to that next level. I don't think all of those managers that you've just mentioned have been able to do what Bielsa has done. Change everything within the club, change an entire city and put that city into Bielsa's hands. And for what he's doing right now, I still think it's incredible. I still think it's absolutely incredible. He played 5 players out of position at the weekend and continues to do so. And we're 12th in the Premier League. Can any of those managers, would they be able to do that? I don't know. And I think that's where you've got to look at Marcelo Bielsa and say, okay, we're not winning anything. We're not tangibly picking up a trophy, but look at what he's done. Look at where we were. And football's fickle. Football's all about the here and now, but just look at it. Really. Where are the other promoted teams in this division? You know, yeah. I just think I think it's an entire championship squad, really, isn't it? You know, and I just think what he's done is I will never forget this guy, and you know I know none of us will, but I still think he's elite. I still think he's the best coach in the Premier League for what he's done. I don't think the rest of them have done it. Even the top ones have had money chucked at them. Bielsa has staved off the money. He might not have been given the money and said, I'm going to improve Stuart Dallas. Cooper, he's going to be a Premier League player. Alioski, everyone says he's rubbish. He's going to be a Premier League player. Jack Harrison can't get into the Man City squad. Gone on to New York, failed at Middlesbrough. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring him in and I'm going to make him a Premier League player. I don't think these managers could do that. I agree, Connor. People expect stupid things personally. He's brought belief and hope, which is a task in itself, considering the past 16 years. I think it's a really good point from Hannah, because it's not just what he's done. It's what he's still doing. He's still doing it to a ridiculous level. Just Stuart Dallas, who was an average championship right winger at Brentford, at Leeds, under Steve Evans, under whoever, McDermott. He's playing left back in the Premier League, you know, and he's doing a fine job. There's so many examples. No one can improve players like Bielsa, and I think it is relative, guys, isn't it? It's relative. Now, because we're in 12th, we're looking up. But what we really need to do is look at where we are, you know? That's my personal opinion. Bottom 3 wage budget, 12th in the league. Enough said with how Bielsa has done with this squad. That's a really good point. Amazing manager, says Day. Right, okay. Let's get on to the next question, shall we, guys? I hope you're enjoying this, by the way. If you haven't already, we're about 34 minutes in and we're still going. It's going to be a long one, this. In the next coming days, we'll clip some parts of it so it's relevant and we'll stick it on the YouTube channel. But if you're enjoying it, we can do it more regularly. I think this is really good. Nice little bit of engagement as well. Okay, so Leicester City. Bayern Leverkusen in talks with Leicester City over $2 million move for Damari Gray. That seems very cheap. Was linked with LUFC not so long ago. Would have thought if it was on the cheap, we'd go for him. Mate, I'm going to really skip over that one really quickly, and that's not because of the nature of your comment. It's Damari Gray. From what I know, he's not got a great attitude. I do not see. He's a great price, and I'm sure someone else, Bayer Leverkusen, the kid's got talent. He's got everything. Damari Gray. From speaking to a couple of Leicester fans, his attitude has never been on point at Leicester. We don't need that, simply, do we? So we'll just gloss over that one. But thank you for your comment, mate. Really, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I didn't know about that until you brought that up. Who's got the worst trim? Right, here we go. A bit of a fun one. Get it in the comment section below. Who out of the Leeds contingent? I need to stop saying contingents, don't I? Out of the Leeds squad has got the worst hairdo. Who's got the worst hairdo? I don't know, because there's different levels of hairdos, isn't there? There's dead hairdos. My hairdo's dead right now. There's hairdos which are a bit out there. You've sort of got. I think the best trim. I think the best trim is clip. I think it's always sharp. No, it's not. It's Phillips. Phillips' hair is very good. I like Phillips' hair. I think he looks cool. He rocks it. And he's class at football as well. So I think he's definitely the best. Worst, it's got to be Alioski, hasn't it? He looks like, is it Drago out of Rocky? It's awful. You know, it really is awful. It looks bleached. A lot of peroxide on there. Probably going to break off when he's about 50 years old. I think it's Alioski. I don't know what you guys think on that one. It's Alioski for me. Has to be clicky. Rodrigo Jack's ponytail. Oh, God. But it's kind of cool. I don't know why it's cool. But it is kind of. Maybe it's not. Best KP. Harrison's hairline. Is it his hairline though? Is his hairline going back? I think as Sujal said, it's got to be Alioski. Bielsa's got a dead trim. He always looks like he's sweating, bless him. So it looks like his hair just goes see-through. Casilla as well. You know, Casilla, you might say it, but Casilla, he's sharp, isn't he? He does look sharp. Clicks worst. Squarehead. Okay, we don't want to reverse into abuse there. Ailing best. Jeremy saying Rodrigo is clap. God, I shouldn't have brought up this question, should I? Right, okay. Next question. Quickly, Connor, quickly. Okay, Oran Maguire, 6. Pulgar and how his attributes would fit Leeds' style of play and whether there is a coming possibility. So I'm going to gloss over the Pulgar because we've spoken about him. Ben White coming back in the summer because I think Brighton will get relegated. Well, first of all, put it in the comment section below. Do you think Brighton will get relegated? That's a really interesting talking point. From what I saw at the weekend, I don't see them getting relegated. I think they've got enough depth. You know, they started so many players out the other day and I thought they nullified us completely. I don't see them going down. But in the scenario of them going down, do you think Leeds would be able to go out and get Ben White? I think Ben White is a top 4 player. I think Ben White is a starter for a top 4 team week in, week out. I think if you look at John Stones and you look at Ben White is a better player. I do. I think his percentages are better. I think he's just a phenomenal footballer. I think his play within the transitions is unbelievable. He's more versatile. I think a player who is like him is John Stones, but I think Ben White is a better player and he's got progression. I think Ben White, we're going to see him at either City or Liverpool very, very soon for a massive fee. I think he's an unbelievable footballer. And we saw it again at the weekend. He was just so good at the weekend. He just absolutely doesn't even play centre midfield. Doesn't even play there. You know, I know we're not great defensively, but I don't think even if Calvin was there at the weekend, he'd have been able to sort of stop what Ben White was doing. I think it was that influential. Stones has been class this season. He has. I just see Ben White is better. Ben White is going to Liverpool or don't say that other one. Can see Ben White going Liverpool. Someone's saying West Ham are 1-0 up. Personally, Hannah says that Ben White is a top 6 club. Brighton fans don't seem to agree with you. They don't know what they've got, do they? They don't know what they've got. We knew what we had. And it's I think we'll all look for Ben White. We'll all look at him. We'll all, he even got there. Do you see him at the weekend when he's starting the game and he gave, I think it was one of the Leeds players, a quick wink like that, and we know in the summer he wanted to come back. We know he did. Right. Okay. So what else have we got on the question list here? We've got is it a big one there? It is a big one. Don't take that out of context. I think we need to adapt more. I've lost faith in brave football. It's starting to feel naive as much as I like to say it. Not all about style. Rodrigo is not being utilised properly, needs more license to get in pockets just behind Bamford. Positively, I think we have a solid starting 11 and some good under-23s. Looking forward to some breaking into the team next season if we stay up. And once again, it's so easy, isn't it? Mr. B, I was going to say Mr. Beast, he's a YouTuber, isn't he? Mr. Best, thank you so much, Mr. Leeds Best. I really appreciate the comment. But we're all frustrated right now. I tell you what I will say is I think a lot of the fans in alliance with that comment, myself included, need to expect more losses in this second half of the season than what we've experienced in the first half. That's what I will say. Reasoning behind that is because I think a lot of teams are going to start adapting to Leeds. Everton, Newcastle, West Brom. I think you're going to get a lot of teams taking the Brighton blueprint and the Crystal Palace blueprint, sort of sitting in a low to mid block, pressing our wingers and being comfortable on the ball, marauding through the middle, as I always like to say. And I think that's a pretty solid blueprint on beating Leeds United. And that could be categorised as our plan A, because we don't really avert to a plan B. But why would you avert to a plan B when plan A has got you in 12th in the Premier League? So I think Leeds United need to pick up another 4 or 5 wins to stay up. Conor McGilligan is buzzing with that. If I wanted to get Champions League or Europa League or top 10, I can understand the expectations being a little bit different. But for now, I think we're going to lose more games in the second half of the season because Premier League teams are Premier League teams for a reason. They have world-class players for a reason. And I think they're going to take note of what other teams are doing. I think Leeds have surprised a lot of teams for the first bit of the season. We saw it with Kyle Walker at the start of the season when he rang Townsend up, Andros Townsend at Crystal Palace, and said, "You wouldn't believe how Leeds are playing. We just didn't. We've never seen anything like it before." I think in the second half of the season, you're going to get a lot of teams adapting to that. So it's critical as Leeds United fans that we sort of expect that. And as long as we stay in this division, it's been a brilliant season. And it will continue to be a joy, as it always is, but it hasn't been in the last 16 years, to support this club because we'll build and build and build. And that's what football is all about. It's about hope. I might be completely wrong. We might go into all these games in the second half of the season and blitz teams or even get a bigger, higher win ratio. I just think the scouting, the managerial sense, the player expertise in this division will adapt to Leeds a little bit more. That's what I personally think. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. Okay, let's have a look what some of you guys are saying. A lot of love for Ben White, which is really great. Love to see that. A lot of people talking about the under 23s as well. Was like the Lewandowski wink I've seen as well. Yeah, so a lot of love for what a lot of you are saying in here. Hannah again, she's absolutely got some great comments today. The negativity from some Leeds fans. We're 12th. God, imagine if we were Sheffield United position currently. It's madness. Be ready to lose 12 more games and don't panic. And it's difficult. It is difficult. And Sujal, we're going to have ups and downs. It's really difficult as a fan to do that as Leeds United fans because we're a massive club. We're a massive city. We're a huge global team. And we are where we are now. We're looking. When we were last in the Premier League, you take those sort of 1 or 2 years out, we never finished outside the top 6. So we come into the Premier League and we're expecting those dizzy heights again, but it's a different time, a different era. Right this moment in time, and we have to get back there, and we will get back there, trust me. But right now, expectations have to be measured. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, what is our strongest back line with a fully fit squad, players and formation? In the comments, I want you to tell me the strongest back line Leeds United have at their disposal. Get it in the comment section below now, guys. If I'm to answer your question there, Charlie, thank you so much for your comment. Luke Ayling, I love at centre-back. He gives us that progressive nature going forward, a little bit like Ben White, but he's not Ben White. So Luke Ayling is a phenomenal right-back, and we've seen that in the Premier League so far. Phenomenal at what he does. Progressive runs, never loses the ball. The Ayling flop is a personal favourite. Very, very good at what he does. We miss Luke Ayling at right-back. We've seen Dallas there. He's done okay, but he's not the right-back that Luke Ayling is. So for me, solidified is Luke Ayling at right back. The centre-backs, the strongest squad. I believe in Koch. Sake. I believe in Robin Koch. I think he's going to be an excellent player for us. We've got him on the absolute cheap. He needs to get right, but he was playing for Germany, guys, at centre-back. Now, this is what we're looking at right now. I would start him. Right centre-back. Left centre-back, Llorente. Now, the reason behind that is I was actually questioning Llorente after that Chelsea performance. And I apologise for that because that's way too far. It's too quick. There were just certain aspects of his game where I was looking and you can normally get a feel for a player straight away. Now, we've not seen a lot of Llorente. When I had seen him before, I thought he was good. I saw him in the 23s yesterday, and this is ridiculous because you're all going to turn around and say, Connie, you can't base it on a 23s game, but it's the patterns of play. It's how he thinks. It's how he tackles. It's when he tackles. It's when he goes up for headers, when he pulls back. It's when he moves forward with the ball. It's the communication with the goalkeeper. It's the vocal man on the pitch. I would start Llorente as that next centre-back. Left-back, Stuart Dallas, although we need another left-back. And I think if we got another left-back and we had those three, I think we'd have a very strong back line. Llorente is right-footed though, isn't he? Yes, he is, but he can play with he's very good with his left foot as well. This is it. Llorente left foot. We don't know because he's literally left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And that's the beautiful thing. It's also the big thing with Pascal Struijk as well. I was debating Pascal Struijk in my head, and there's a fine line between Struijk and Llorente. Struijk is a magnificent player as well. I really like Struijk. Very, very highly rate Pascal Struijk. They reckon in the Leeds team, he's the one who with both feet can hit a postage stamp. Get the ball, switch it. We just don't see enough of it in games. I don't know whether or not that's confidence. Somebody clip that, please don't. Ayling, Koch, Coops, Alioski, Dallas. A lot of people saying the same thing. Oh, okay, Liam Lundland's come in. Alioski, Koch, Ayling, Dallas. We saw the Koch and Ayling partnership against Villa, which is very good. Ayling, Llorente, Cooper. A lot of Pascal, not a CDM though. Ayling, Llorente, Cooper, Dallas. Yeah, and I just think there's a lot of love. The thing is, and this is really interesting as well, look at this from Ben Whitehead, if we were to do a back three. The brilliant thing is, thank you so much, Sujal. If you guys would mind liking the video, that'd be amazing. I'm going to try answer all your comments, and we're going to get all into some more conversational points here. I love Day's comment here. Oh, where's it gone? Mills, Ferdinand, Woodgate, Hart. I'd love that one back as well. And here's Nathan as well saying that Llorente's come out and said he prides himself on playing left and right centre back. This guy is a warrior and he's good in the air as well. Okay, what have we got next? Okay, is this the question? No, that was Charlie's. Okay, so Chris Borg, I think he's taken the title for the best name so far as well. I sort of suspect a little bit of Scandinavian in there. Is Klich good enough when we don't press so much like at the start of the season? Oh, I think it's just been highlighted right now that there seems to be a little bit of a confidence issue with Matthias Klich. I think going forward, he's creating chances, but I think a lot of that was affiliated with the start of the season. You know, there's definitely a drop-off. We know there's a drop-off with him. Defensively, he is suspect, and a lot of people are saying, well, you look at Rodrigo next to him. Yeah, granted, that doesn't help because they're similar players. They both go forward at the same time, which is just madness. But in the Championship, the quality of player we had, or we were coming up against, was not the quality of player that we're coming up against right now. Ben White and Guisa, Scott McTominay, players of that ilk, Thiago, whoever we're going to be coming up against, Kante. We didn't face that in the Championship. So Klich's defensive performances weren't taken into account that much. And I think this is the problem with Klich right now. It is defensively. I think going forward, he's still got the slick passing in and out of the channels. I think his passing seems to be a bit suspect at this moment in time. And of course, his shooting. He just keeps hitting the top stand. So I think it's about recruitment again, because for me, he needs a rest. He needs a rest. He's consistently played for Leeds. And this is what we always talk about with transfers, and just that one player coming in who can sort of cover those positions. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys think on this one. We need another Patty McAllister. We definitely do. I'd agree. Sam says Joseph Tiffany. Klich, Rodrigo looked fatigued. Klich looks out of his depth in the Prem. I don't know if he does, mate. I mean, I think he's just knackered. I think he's knackered, and it's not an excuse for him, because you guys know what I'm like. I call them all out when they're not performing. But it does seem that he is a bit of a passenger at this moment in time. Him not tracking back. Joshua says here, oh, I've gone dark. There we go. Hold on a sec. That's what happens, guys, when you're streaming. Okay, don't worry, I'm back. Klich's chance creation is elite. His overall game has been below par. Yeah, and I think a lot of that is sort of accurate, isn't it? Klich's losing the ball too much for me at this moment in time. I do think he is. I think he needs a rest. He definitely needs a rest right now, and that's going to be really interesting to see whether or not we do that in the coming weeks. Okay, so what we're moving on to now. So we'll get on some YouTube comments as well. Charlie Wilkinson, thank you so much. How do you think the first half of the season gone? Overall, I'm happy with it. There has been a few questionable moments, and right now we're going through a bad patch. But overall, we couldn't have expected much more. 23 points is a good return, and 11 points off the relegation zone. Koch has been a big miss, as it has taken Ayling away from right back. But when everyone's back and fit, I think we will push on again and get even further away from the drop zone. I'd say the issue with that is, Charlie, we're not going to have a fully fit squad for the season. Marcelo Bielsa hasn't had a fully fit squad since July 2018. That's that's the Bielsa way. It's just not happened for him in terms of having everybody fit and ready. Obviously, that's a problem. We know that's a problem. Do we adapt? We do adapt because the versatility in the squad is second to none. It's probably the best in European football in terms of players playing out of position well. What I do think, though, is it's a very valid comment because we are where we are. We're 11 points off relegation. We do need to keep on ticking away because we know the Premier League is absolutely ruthless. It is. We've seen that so far, haven't we? Any sort of chance an opposition team gets, bang, goal. Where in the Championship, it might be 4, 5, 6 chances. So it's definitely a level where we're at right now where we can compete. I think we're a Premier League side. I think we're doing our due diligence in this league. I think we've got to be careful at sort of thinking that this squad is going to be back to full health this season, though. I think there's going to be more COVID issues. I think there's going to be more injuries in this system. Due to the sheer amount of playing that we're doing, there's going to be some suspensions as well. Mattis Klick's on 4 right now. I think he needs his 5th yellow card, to be honest. But who do we replace him with? There's Shackleton, Pablo maybe, but could Pablo last in the Premier League for a full 90? We talk about him in the Championship, was brilliant. Could he last a full 90 minutes in the Premier League at age 35? We talk about the physical nature of it, the athleticism, how it's just levels and levels above the Championship. In terms of athleticism, could Pablo be that man who gets back and defends as well as going forward and creating those moments of magic? Do we have to adapt formation so Shackleton can come on and supplement the energy levels that maybe Pablo Hernandez doesn't have in there? So then we have to think about other things. This is why Klick is so important, but we're just not. He's set himself such high standards that we're not seeing it right now, and we need it right now. So yeah, I think there's, in terms of the comment from Charlie, it is a good return right now. Koch has been a big miss. Will we see him again this season? Springtime, maybe not. But who knows? Okay, Shackleton is a Milner, Dallas type of player, Mr. Utility. Llorente looked very good in the under-23s, winning challenges, and I know it's a drop in quality, but I hope he starts against Newcastle. We'll replace him with Pulgar. I wouldn't like to see Klick replaced. I really wouldn't. I love Matthias Klick, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a little bit of addition to his position. Con, do you believe that Rodrigo should play beside Bamford and not behind him? Several journalists in Argentina say Rodrigo's current position is not comfortable for him. Yeah, we've spoken about that, Patricio. After this stream, mate, you can go back and watch the full thing, and I'll have clips on the YouTube channel for the remainder of the week. So don't worry, I've got you sorted. But yes, in answer to your question, it's difficult to see him in this position at the minute because I think he is struggling. Okay, so let's see what's going on now. A few more YouTube comments in there, guys. Niall Smith, a big fan of the channel. Thank you for your comment, Niall. Is the fact Bielsa won't adapt starting to worry you in certain games and not to go all gung ho against every team? Hate to say it, but look at the likes of Villa, who are more selective in their press and in press zones. 100% we need to start players in their proper position too. We miss what Ayling brings at right back. And I think it's all about availability of players, isn't it, Niall? It's all about those players being able to play in the proper positions, the quality, being able to, you forget Aston Villa stayed up on a fraudulent decision last year. The ball was over the line against Sheffield United, but you can't take it away from this season. They've been absolutely brilliant. So what they've had is they've had another season to bring players in. They've had another season of adaptability in the Premier League as well. And that second season syndrome they haven't had. And that's where we need to be as a Premier League team. But I think a lot of the pressing in the zones, I think the players are knackered. I think a lot of it comes from the midfield. To be quite honest with you, I think we see a lot of the pressing in the zones, in the midfield, and it's lacking right now. And that all goes back to the defensive culpability of what's going on. Okay, JX. While I think Bielsa has worked wonders with the team, is he a one-trick pony? He never seems to deviate from his method, and teams are learning this. Many teams know how to pull our players out of position to create space. Striker pulls a centre-back toward the wing, for example, leaving space in front of the goal. All you have to do is lose their man and they're open. Seems to happen every game. Yeah, and we are where we are because of Bielsa, aren't we? We are where we are because of Bielsa. We're not rock bottom, we're 12th. I agree. I think there's massive holes in that, but I think you improve and you get players who can diligently follow their men defensively by investing again. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to be going on and talking about the same sort of stuff every single time. But with time, Leeds will make improvements. The big thing this year is to just stay in the division. Okay, guys. And the final question of this quiz, rounding us up. The quiz? Might be a quiz. We could do a quiz soon. Guy J. Robertson. Would it be better, given our previous success in January, to wait for the summer to invest in 4 or 5 quality signings rather than sign someone this January with a short-term view of finishing higher this season rather than looking at the long term? A really good comment there that I wanted to end on, because we don't want to blow our load right now. We don't want to invest in so many players. And I know people want an experienced keeper, a striker, a left back, a centre-up midfielder. I want all those players. But to do that right now, in this window, this difficult window, we don't know what's going to be happening in the summer in terms of protocols, in terms of whatever. I completely agree with Guy in terms of holding back. And there's a lot of credence to what he's saying. You know, maybe we shouldn't go out and get a midfielder. But in Leeds United's case, with how threadbare our squad is naturally, I think another midfielder in this window is key. But in a general sphere of improving the squad, all has to be done in the summer. Definitely. We need a CM. Agreed, John. Okay, logically, if players aren't playing in their natural position, that's more of a reason to change tactics. Whilst I would agree with that, what would be the alternative tactic? A 4-4-2? Because that's kind of what we play in an attacking sense. We're struggling defensively at this moment in time. So adapting to a 4-4-2 could hinder us. 3 at the back, I don't think works with this Leeds side. So the 4-1-4-1 is really a system that has been trialled and proven with this Leeds United side. So I understand with what you're saying, but with the amount of players we actually have out of position, finding a tactic for that would be very, very difficult for me. Get another player in. We just need to consolidate, as Sam says, sign Gary Medine. Let's have a look. We have played the current top 9 teams and only beaten 1, Everton. Joe, and who are we expected to beat, mate? You know, I don't like playing against those top 9 because, you know, the likelihood is that we're getting smacked every game. But these are billion-pound investment clubs, and we're not. It's the metric, and this is what I was talking about, Joe, with expectations. We cannot be expected to get 4 wins out of 9 against those teams, or 3 wins out of 9. That would be brilliant if we did. Brilliant. The fact that we've got a draw against Arsenal, a draw against Manchester City, you know, we've beaten Everton. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. We shouldn't be getting anything against these teams. The Brighton game, they've had millions spent on the squad as well, but in Premier League status terms, we should be doing better against teams like that. But guys, that's it. It's been an hour. We've hit an hour. The first time, I think, on the One Leeds channel, we've hit an hour. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it sustained you a little bit. We'll have the clips out if you've missed anything. If you want to go back and watch it all again, I think it was worth it. So if you wouldn't mind hitting a like on the video, sharing it to your friends, you know, if your friends haven't heard of this Leeds channel and they enjoy it. I've just realized I've been speaking for an hour without a drink, so my mouth is like, you know, Gandhi's flip-flop. So I hope you've enjoyed it. As I said, you can go back and watch it. And that's it, guys. Sit back, relax, and we'll be back for the Newcastle stuff. We're back tomorrow with a cheeky little live with someone who I know you all like. And we've got a little bit of a mid-season thing with that individual. That's I'll give it away. It's always a laugh, put it that way. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go and get a cup of tea because my mouth is just dry. And thank you for joining. Please slap a like on the video, and I'll see you in a bit.